Today on The Grid, my guests are Scott Cowlin and Ted Waitt from Rocky Nook Publishing. Our topic today is help us write the next great photography book. Plus, we got some important worldwide photo walk news, and we've got some cool giveaways as always, and it all starts in just 60 seconds. The Grid is brought to you by Tamron. Check out their 28 to 75 millimeter f2.8 lens. It's for Sony full frame mirrorless. It's awesome. Go to tamron-usa.com. And Westcott. Check out their new Rapid Box switch. It has 9 light modifiers and 13 quick swap light inserts. Check it out right now at fjwestcott.com. And ProPhoto, the light shaping company. Check out the ProPhoto B1X. Power in all the right places. Go to prophoto.com/US. And Platypod, the tripod alternative that is changing the world. Everybody has a Platypod. You should too. Go to platypod.com. Hi, everybody. Scott Kelby here. Welcome to another live episode of The Grid. And we have two very special guests in our audience. Not in our audience. We have two very special guests on the show today. To my left, my book editor from Rocky Nook Publishing, my longtime book editor, 14 years? Is
Something
that about
like
right?
That. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Half my life.
Mr. Ted Waitt. Hi, Ted. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
This is your
Great
third time on The Grid?
Second time.
Second time? We're glad to have you here. Also, next, my publisher. Are you my publisher? My publisher.
I am.
How many years have you and I worked together?
I don't know, 17?
Since
the dawn of time.
Since he was a baby, Scott Cowlin. So welcome, Scott. First
Thank
time on
you.
The Grid?
This is my first time on The Grid.
All right, good to have you guys
Excited
here.
to be here.
They're from California, so all they can talk about is how hot it is here in Florida. And they're right, it's freaking baking here. Anyway, glad to have you both here. We have a really interesting topic today called Help Us Write the Next Great Photography Book. So we're always working on a on a book, and we want to find out what topics are really hot for you guys, because Scott and Ted are here working. We're working on next year's book schedule, right? So we write a number of books a year. Some of them I write, and some of them are from guests, like we did Moose Peterson's book, and we've done books for all kinds of people. Peter Hurley's book, Joe McNally's book. We do other people's books as well. And so that's what we're going to talk to you guys. And we're also going to talk about some other ancillary things, like how do you get a book deal, right? So things like that. So we'll be talking about all those book-related stuff, how to get a coffee table book. It's very easy to get a coffee table book, actually. Just go to Barnes & Noble. They sell them right there. Anyway, so we're going to be talking about that kind of stuff. We have all kinds of other stuff. We have big giveaways, but I want to start off with some really, really big news. Today, we announced my 11th annual worldwide photo walk. So for those of you who are familiar with it or are not familiar with it, it is a worldwide photo walk in 1,000 cities around the world generally, and it is October 6th. So it is Saturday, October 6th, all over the world, and we hope that you can join us. We're going to have a ton of fun. It is sponsored by our friends at Canon, who make all kinds of awesome gifts and prizes available, and so it'll be just a ton of fun. And, want to stop right there. See that shirt? See that T-shirt right there? No, that's not the T-shirt. That's the T-shirt, thanks. So this whole walk supports the Springs of Hope Orphanage in Nakuru, Kenya, and we have an official shirt, and if you buy the shirt, all of the profits, 100% of them, go to the Springs of Hope Orphanage. And when you sign up to walk, it's free. The walk is free to anybody in the world in all these 1,000 cities. If you sign up, we just ask, and it's a volunteer thing. You don't have to do this, but we ask that you give $1. And honestly, all those $1 add up, because thousands and thousands of people walk, and we raise around $20,000-ish is our goal every year to raise for the orphanage. And it's a very small orphanage. They have 51 kids. But can you imagine what getting a $20,000 check does for an orphanage in Nakuru, Kenya? It's huge. And they count on us every year to help them out. And so this year is no different. So when you do sign up for a walk, give $1 and maybe get the T-shirt too. You can wear it. It looks really cool when you're at the walk and all that. Okay, so that's it. We are giving away a ProPhoto B1 light right here today. But we already know who the winner is.
It's me.
It's not you.
Damn.
So you've heard me talking about this for like weeks now. I go, hey, don't forget to sign up for that thing. They're going to be drawing a winner soon. Don't forget, today's the day. In just a few minutes, we're going to announce the winner of our Pro Photo Contest. They worked with us here at KelbyOne to give this great B1X away. These are the same lights that I use, and oh my gosh, you will love this light on a level you never dreamed that you would love a light. So we have the winner coming up here in just a few minutes. And let's see what else. So, you can go to worldwidephotoWalk.com and sign up for that because we didn't really finish that. Right. So there's that. I want to get a couple of shout outs to people who are looking from all over. We have Ann from Argentina here. How you doing? Jeff's here. Hi, Jeff. How you doing? Gord's here from Ontario. Avian's here from Columbus, Ohio. And hi, everyone from Mooresville and Taylorsville, North Carolina. Dave R. Which is it, Dave? You can only pick one city. You can't be in two places. Lunsworth here is from Houston. Becky's here from a slightly cooler Goodyear, Arizona. Only 98 degrees so far. Ooh, that is cool. Alan says, hello, Gridsters from Albuquerque, New Mexico. And Chiquinando. Chiquinando. Oh, I didn't mention where my photo walk is this year. Why don't you ask me, Ted?
Where's that amazing photo walk you do every year?
Well, thanks, Ted. You know, each year I lead a walk myself. And this year my walk will be in Innsbruck, Austria.
Wow.
You know who will be with me?
Nope.
Chiquinando. Chiquinando is coming with me too, and other friends, my brother, another bunch of friends. We're all getting together in Innsbruck, and we're going to walk like mad. And you're invited because it's free. Anybody can come. All right. So let's talk. Let's talk about love. Oh, no. Can you guys do something for me? I'm sorry to interrupt. Right before we went on the air, we're all chatting. We're very chatty. And Christina's here on the moderation. She's waving to me like, I've seen you all day. I see you in the halls. Yep, there goes Christina. Hi, Christina. So anyway, we need to put a camera on you, though, so you can wave and, even if we have to pre-record it. And we can just show a different one each week. There we go. Oh, can we hit her with the camera? There we go. All right. All right.
There you go.
Okay, so there's Christina. That's. Don't make her feel awkward. There we go. She's like having to hold this smile. Okay, that's good. Okay, that's good. Okay. Anyway, that's Christina. She's on the moderation today, so please be moderate to her. Let's talk about love. No. So one of the things that we've been talking about, I kind of got way off track there. One of the things we've been talking about is we're developing next year's books. Now, you guys don't just publish my books. You have other books you guys publish?
A few.
Who are some of your authors?
Some people you know, Glenn Dewis.
Oh, Glenn, yeah.
Roberto Valenzuela.
Roberto, yes.
Lindsay Adler.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Who am I forgetting, Ted?
Chris Knight.
Chris Knight.
Chris has got
the dramatic
Kelby
portrait.
Yeah, he's got a new KelbyOne class with us. He's great.
He's great.
Such a good photographer.
He is.
He is so good.
And we do camera manuals, so some topic-driven stuff and some just, how to use your camera, whatever the latest, newest thing from Nikon or Canon or Sony. So that always keeps us busy because new cameras means more books, which is a good thing.
All right.
From our perspective.
Yes, it is. All right. So our topic today is help us write the next great photography book. So I'm always working on a new book. I can tell you the book that I'm working on right now is an update of a book that was actually before its time. And I blame this on you, Ted, because you helped me develop it.
Yeah, I believe it was one of your best dedications, if I remember right.
Did I dedicate the book to you?
Maybe.
Well, the new one is not going to be to you, because
it shouldn't be.
Well, so we wrote a book called Photoshop for Lightroom Users, and I think it was a really good book and a really helpful book. It was just before its time because it was released before Adobe did the $10 Lightroom and Photoshop. Because I'm on this Lightroom tour right now, and the most comment, not a question, is from people that go, man, I know I really need to learn Photoshop. I have it, I'm paying for it. I know I really need to learn it. So the whole book is really just about the stuff you can't do in Lightroom. Because you can do so much in Lightroom now, right? And so, but speaking of that, I'm giving away a book that I happen to have right here, published by these two guys here from my friends at Rocky Nook. And we're giving this away on the show today, right here. It is called, How Do I Do That in Lightroom Classic? Second edition. One of my best-selling books ever. This is a major update. All the brand new stuff in Lightroom is in here. All the color profiles and all that stuff is in here. And I do want to tell you this. This book, if you win it, well, it doesn't matter. If you win it, it's free. You don't have any investment in it. This book is not for beginners. So if you're like brand new to Lightroom, like, I wonder if this will help me learn Lightroom. No, it will not. It will actually erase brain cells. What this book is for is for people who already kind of know Lightroom. You're already up and running, but you're like working in Lightroom and you go, wait, how do you do that thing? Or doesn't Lightroom let you do that? Or isn't there a way? You turn to this one page, it tells you that one thing, and that's it.
How do I get those tabs to stop popping up?
Yes, how do I get those
my mouse
panels
and stuff.
stop popping up? It's just all those crazy things. So that's it. So anyway, we're giving away that. We are giving away a fabulous Platypod Ultra. Platypod Ultra. We're giving away this and the Max. It's larger version. If you don't want to use a tripod, you will love these because these are like, nobody cares about them as far as like they don't stop you from using them. You go into museums, you go into places. Like I'm going to, where am I going? I'm going to Rome next, and then I'm going to
Hawaii?
Innsbruck.
Innsbruck?
Innsbruck, yes. Going to Innsbruck, and when I'm there, I'll be taking that with me. I'll have that platypod with me everywhere I go because I can pull it out in places you're not supposed to have one. So Chiki Nando says, do you already have a book about the coming Nikon and Canon mirrorless? That's a good question. So these are both just rumors. They are not, but I think Nikon's is more than a rumor. Didn't Nikon kind of come out and go, we have something special that doesn't have mirrors coming out? So I think Nikon, theirs is like kind of out of the bag. It's kind of like the DJI copters, it's like
Right.
It's out of the bag. But
We don't know exactly when,
No.
but it's going to happen.
it's I think didn't
No,
Nikon
yeah.
was this month, isn't it?
Yeah, we've seen
Who
they've
knows?
released a couple trailers.
Yeah, they've done some teasers and stuff, but no Chiki Nando. I do not have any books on those yet. But that's kind of what we're going to talk about today is like, so what are the topics that you guys are struggling with? What would be like, and this is what I would love to hear from you. If you said, man, I wish there was a book out there on, that's what we're looking for. The kind of stuff you're struggling with.
Yeah, and I think this came about when we were talking earlier today or last night about how sometimes there's obvious hot trends that are happening in photography, and if we look back, we can think about when hot shoe flash really took off 10 years ago.
That was explosive when it took off.
It was explosive.
Like everybody went out and bought a flash in that time frame.
That's right. And so it was an obvious topic to write a book about and help people with. HDR was the same way.
It was Trey's book that started the whole HDR extravaganza.
Yep. And so you and I talk, and Scott, we all talk regularly about, is there a next new hot thing? You could say drones, maybe is or was one at least a couple of years ago. But right now on the landscape, it looks like there's not an obvious hot topic everyone is talking about. Maybe the mirrorless is one of them. And that's definitely going to change the landscape of what's happening out there. But when it comes to camera bodies, but in photography, as a practice or as a topic, what are people either struggling with or what do they want to learn more about that isn't already covered?
Yeah, because I think Ted really makes a great point there. There's a lot of times in like the photography genre, we know exactly what the hot topic is. Like, oh my gosh, flash. Oh my gosh, HDR. What is it today?
It's a constant question. And
It is a constant question.
And sometimes it's things that may have been covered before but need to be covered in a different way.
Ooh, that's a good point.
Because if learning photography was as simple as reading a single book or just going to one course, we'd all be experts because we've all done that. But it takes years. It's an art form.
It's
so
a craft.
It's a craft. So you have to spend years getting better at it. And sometimes you're not ready to learn something, or you need it explained to you in a different way that clicks for you. So sometimes it can be an old topic, composition, or, wow, I never understood the rule of thirds, but now I do.
It's crafty. Hey, we're already getting some great comments, and we're going to answer Rose's question when we come back from the break. We're going to take a short one. I have Scott and Ted here from Rocky Nook. We're talking about books, and we already have two really interesting questions, and we are going to talk about those as soon as we come back from the break. We're also going to reveal our big winner. Here's the thing I forgot to ask you to do. Bring the jib back down slowly, slowly. I didn't get a chance to tweet out that we're live on the air. So if you guys would tweet it out for me, I'm going to see if I can get it done here real quick, but I don't have a great track record of that. So I could put up pictures of different people besides me and you guys. Well, I'll just see if I can find the grid logo. But if you could go to Twitter or Facebook or wherever and go, hey, come watch the grid, we would greatly appreciate it because I just didn't get it done. Don't go away. Now go to the jib. There we go. We'll be right back. Don't move, don't breathe, don't make a sound.
Hi everyone, my name is Mimo Meidani. I'm a long exposure photographer and welcome to Venice. Today in our class, I'm going to teach you the long exposure. In order to do that, we need to work on the filters, how to set the filters, how to set the camera, how to use our remote control, how to compose, and all of that. And in the end, I'm going to go to my Lightroom and Photoshop to teach you how to do the best editing with the black and white Lightroom and Photoshop. Come check out my class on long exposure photography exclusively at KelbyOne.com.
And because there's so much just keeps being added to Photoshop, I think it's good to kind of sit back and go, well, what's going to make my life easier? So one of the tips I cover is libraries. So you can start adding assets to libraries and color swatches and images, because you can share these with InDesign and Illustrator. So the whole thing for me with Photoshop is playing and practicing and just trying stuff out, because, you know, we all follow tutorials and, you know, if the guy says it's this color or this is percentage. So jumping into these little areas in Photoshop and finding these new things might just change the way you work or give you a new effect you haven't found before. So I think the deeper you can go into Photoshop, the more fun you'll have with it. And so I put this class of tips together just so you can have these little shortcuts and just little help me things that generally catch you out in Photoshop, because you're going back and forwards through different commands. And what I want to do is just bring a bunch of them together that I've learned over the past few months to make my life easier, and just share them with KelbyOne members.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by B&H Photo, the professional source since 1973.
Hey everybody, Scott Kelby here with Scott Cowlin and Ted Waitt from Rocky Nook Publishing. These are the guys that publish my photography books, so my new Lightroom book that we're giving away here on the show and all kinds of other stuff. But before we go any further, it's time to reveal who will win the fabulous, and I do mean fabulous, ProPhoto B1X. Given from our friends and cool sponsor, ProPhoto USA. Oh yeah. Look at this bad boy. Battery powered. Like, this is the whole thing. There's nothing to plug in. There's no plug. The battery's inside of here. It's lightweight. It's the greatest.
It's like you don't want to let it go.
It's like you don't want to let it go. Well, they're actually getting a brand new one in a box. They don't actually take mine.
Good.
This is just like a live demo. And I'd like to say congratulations to our winner, Ellie Dream. So Ellie Dream, that's her on screen right now. Ellie Dream. Oh,
E-L-L-Y.
that's E with a capital E. Oh yes, look, there it is. Ellie Dream. So Ellie won. She was one of the people that just entered, and we chose a winner at random. And so congratulations, Ellie. Our friends at ProPhoto will be sending you a beautiful and a fabulous ProPhoto B1X, just like the one that you see here, but not this one, because this one's mine. So congratulations. Yay. Yay. Whee.
That's awesome.
It is awesome.
Pretty cool prize.
Yeah, it is. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. So a couple of things. So we're talking about, our topic today is help us write the next great photography book. And we're asking people, for you guys watching, to kind of let us know what kind of books that you what do you think's missing? And we have lots of questions and comments. And one of the questions we said was we're going to answer, how do you get a book deal? And so Rose Kieran from New Zealand asks, so here's a question. What do you have to do to write a photography book? So I'm going to let these guys answer. I will give you my short answer because we produce books here at KelbyOne. So like I mentioned, we produced Peter Hurley's book and Joe McNally's book and David Zeiser's book and Moose Peterson's book. We produced a lot of other people's books beside my own. I can tell you what we look for, and then you guys can tell me what you look for. So Rose, to answer your question, it's not, do you have a topic you know really well? Because I think a lot of people go, I know this topic really well, I should write a book on it. You guys are seeing exactly what it is. What are people asking about? What are people hungry to learn? So when people come to me with an idea and they go, hey man, I want to write a Photoshop book, I'm like, great. What is going to be different about your Photoshop book than the 500? How many Photoshop books do you think are out there?
At least 100.
Well, I mean, that's 100 new ones.
Yeah, in the history, yeah,
Oh,
500.
yeah,
thousands.
500, 1,000, something like that. Ridiculous amount of books. So for the world to actually go and buy your book, there's got to be something different and unique about it. Something different that makes you go, oh, well, okay. Or you've got something like Rose, for example, you've got some technique or some way of doing it or a system that you do that's different than everybody else's, and you're like, I got to teach people this system is going to revolutionize the way they do that. So that's what it is, because if you call up a publisher and say, hey, I want to publish a book on Photoshop, they're going to go, huh, yeah, we hear that all the time. What's going to make your book different? So anyway, to you guys.
There's something like, I don't know the exact number, but there's something like 2 million books published every year in the English language. So
2 million?
So it's a lot, so what's going to make it different or stand out from those, and why do people need it? What problem is it going to solve for them? That's the biggest thing. And the biggest misconception we have at Rocky Nook is we specialize in educational photography books. So we don't typically do your straight old coffee table book. Your trip to India, or even though the pictures are amazing, those are just a different market than we're in. But we want to educate people and make their craft better, and so that's what we're looking for. One of the things, anyways.
Yeah. I think that, you landed on one of the main things, which is what makes it different. And the first question that we'll often ask is, what makes it different and better? Different or better is okay too, but different and better than what's already out there.
Oh,
and,
that's good.
One of the first answers that you'll often get from someone who maybe hasn't they think their idea is so great, which is good because they're passionate about it, but they haven't looked at the competition. They haven't really looked at the landscape of other books out there. As they say, well, there's nothing else like this out there. And you go, well, there probably is something. It's few and far between where, there's a truly unique, never seen it before kind of idea. But everything that, I would agree with everything you both have said already. And then I think that what you can add to it is, the question was, how do you write a photography book? But the real question that we would like to help potential authors answer is, how do you write a great photography book that reaches a lot of people and sells and does well? And that's when you get into other topics, such as the author's the profile, the quality of their work. You could be great at teaching, but if you don't have very good photography, which it can be a hairy conversation, but you want great photography. You want great photography, the capability to teach, which is not a duo that always goes together well or automatically. And then you want to have an audience that comes to you for that topic. Sometimes people will be really great at portraits, and they've been teaching portraiture for 25 years. It's okay, but what they're really passionate about right now is macro flower photography, and that's the book they want to do. I totally respect that passion, but that's probably not the book that's going to resonate the most with the audience.
For macro shots of flowers, so they don't have an audience of people. Because I think that's another thing that may be a misconception for a lot of people who are thinking about writing a book, is what these guys do, what Rocky Nook does, is their job is to sell your book into all kinds of bookstores, colleges, universities, and stuff all over, right? So their job is to get it there. But you as the author have to drive people to the bookstore. Like, so if you have an audience, it makes a big difference. Just like Ted was just saying, if everybody knows you as a portrait photographer and you've got 250,000 followers on YouTube, your chances of success with a portrait book are very good. If no one's heard of you and you don't have an audience, you better have a really great hook. Like, your book better be so different, because you're going to have to tell people, my new book is out. Did I mention to my audience I have a new book? I don't know if it's out in ebook, and the print book is, when's the print book coming out?
A couple weeks.
Couple weeks, print book on its way. It's on press. It's probably be between press and a warehouse somewhere in a truck in Wichita?
Could be.
Could be. Anyway, but yeah, you have to get people to go to the bookstores and buy the book. So to answer her question in one big nutshell, Ted, you laid it out in those three good things. You have to have a topic that is ideally different and
better,
and a better than something that's out there. You've got to have an audience.
Great work.
And you have to be a good, because if you look at a book on photography and you pick it up and the pictures don't look good, you're like,
even if the techniques are amazing, you're not necessarily inspired. You want that photography to pop off the page and say, I want to learn how to do that.
Yeah, I want my book, I want my photos to look like this, and this is the book that's going to get me there, not this is what I'm going to wind up with.
Now I have to imagine that I could use this on,
Right.
Yeah, because we have even though we're visual people, we have a tough time. Like, if you teach somebody a technique and the technique is on a construction worker, it's hard to imagine that same technique applied to a newborn. Even though it may be the exact same technique, the light goes in the same place, everything's the same, we learn in context. We're contextual learners mostly. All right, we have all kinds of other questions, but thank you for that, Rose. Let's see. Dave Clayton, who, by the way, is a book cover designer.
I've never heard of him, actually.
Says, didn't we just see his ad for his class? People don't care about the content. It's the cover they go for. And then Peter Treadway, friend of Dave Clayton, says, I always judge a book by its cover. Can I tell you something? I'll give you a secret truth, ready, of the book publishing market. You cannot judge a book by its cover, but that's still how they're sold.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Dave R., this is interesting. Dave says, I wish there was a book on podcasting, video, and voice. So, Dave, podcasting is a very hot topic right now. Yeah. Everybody has a podcast. It's exploding. But can I tell you something? I've seen books. There actually are books and websites and courses, but they're all the same thing. Do you know what they do? They all talk about which mic to get. Yeah. It's so much about, it is so much about the technology that they don't really talk about the show. Like, at some point, buying a microphone today is not a hard thing. It's USB, it plugs into this, you know what I mean? It's like, now, we had to go through some pain in the butts to get the mics that we have, and they go through compressors, and they go through weird stuff, and they do weird stuff to it. But you don't have to have that. You can get I have a mic at home that Terry Waitt turned me on to that's a USB mic. Oh my gosh, that mic is so, it's a couple $100. Such a great mic. You don't have to spend a ton of money on mics and the software to do podcasting. But I agree, there isn't a really good book out there that goes, okay, here's the mic you need, and here's a mixing console, and here's a set of headphones. Okay, that's easy. Now let's talk about marketing your podcast, getting people to watch it, what you're going to do for your topics, like all the other stuff of podcast. Because honestly, today, there's never been a time in history that podcasting is easier than it is today.
It's creating great content and then getting it out there, which is the same thing as a.
Do you guys have a book on that?
We don't.
You want one?
Yeah.
All righty. So we're talking about help us write the next great photography book. So we're getting warm with that last one. So Mark Heaps, hi Mark. Mark is a great Photoshop master and Photoshop World instructor, and just a really good bass player. So he sat in with us and played a few songs at Photoshop World at the instructor jam session, and my gosh, he's a good bass player. Just really, really, really good. So Mark says, I miss all those effects books that we had in Photoshop years ago. How to make things with various filter recipes and stuff. A lot of those don't translate to the current version of Photoshop CC. It's true.
Should bring back Down and Dirty Tricks, Scott.
Yeah. We should ask Mark to do it. But yeah, my first book was called Photoshop Down and Dirty Tricks, and there was a time where that's all anybody wanted in a Photoshop book was just special effects. So now I've got a really, really, in the book that I'm working on now, Photoshop for Lightroom users, I got a really, really good special effects chapter. So Mark, in that, but you know what it is? Mark is so good. He's the last person in the world that needs I'm serious. Like he's like as good as they come. You're not. You don't need. He's the last guy in the world that needs a book. I don't know what I'm going to teach him that he doesn't already know. He'd probably look at my whole chapter of all this amazing stuff and go, "Yeah, I know that. I know that. Oh, I invented that one. Yeah, I got that." I guess it's so. I don't know what we can do there. Michael Fultz says this is a good one. Compositing for photographers, not designers. So, Michael, I think this is interesting. This is very interesting. Can you flesh that out a little for us, Michael? Like, could you just kind of give us another little, like, how you see that? Like, tell me what it is you don't like about the compositing, because a lot of books are like that. Like, they're showing how, like, a graphic designer putting together, a project would go, now we have classes on that for, like, that are for photographers. Like, what's that class we just did? Christina, you would know? Yeah. Fantastical compositing. That's it. Who did it? He was so good. Yes, Brett Malley.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That is such a great class. That's a great class. It's not a book, but you can go watch it on KelbyOne, and he does that compositing for photographers. It's not for graphic designers. But if you could flesh that out a little, I think there's something good. Hey, I got to pause for 1 second. Ellie Dream was watching, and she said, "Dream come true." All right, yay! We're very happy for you, Ellie. Congratulations, Ellie. I've been shooting with these now for about a month, and you are gonna love this light on a level. They're just the greatest. In fact, I'm getting ready to record a class. We're working on it now. In fact, we're working on the sets and stuff because we're going on location, but we're building the sets here before we take them and build them on location. But I'm going to be using nothing but the ProPhoto B1X, so make sure you catch my class. Hey, we're going to take a short break. We're taking your questions. And Jeff May's got a good one. Ooh, we got bunch of good questions. Stick around. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Canon.
Make sure you don't miss any episodes of The Grid by subscribing to Apple's podcast app or iTunes. It's free, and we even have a special audio-only version too. So sign up today.
Hey everybody, we're back. Scott Kelby here with Ted Waitt and Scott Cowlin from Rocky Nook Publishing. We're talking about help us write the next great photography book. My gosh, we're getting such good questions today. So, Ted, we were talking just briefly about the compositing before we went to break.
Yeah, and I was just saying that during break, I was just saying that, you know, as we talked earlier about trends that we've seen in the past, you know, that are, they're still around, obviously, but, you know, hot shoe flash was a big thing. HDR is a big thing. I feel like compositing was a big thing, 6 years ago, maybe. And maybe this is a good time to say sometimes things kind of like podcasts in general, you know, they were big at first, then they went away, and now they're huge again. Maybe compositing is going to have a resurgence.
I think
or
compositing is having a resurgence. That's why we're doing compositing classes. I think it really is going through a resurgence.
And it'd be, and like you said, Scott, it'd be interesting to drill down on what he means by compositing for photographers. Is it?
Yeah, well, I hope
be a
he'll
lot of things.
Yeah,
he'll
that'd be-
drop us a note here. You know who did a really, really good, I'm going to have to get the name of it for you. Give me 1 second. I'll tell you who did a great book on compositing for photographers. Let me find it for you real quick. Hold on. I'm going to go to Amazon. We're supposed to drink when we say Amazon, but you know, it's okay. It's all right. Let me go find it here real quick. This one. Right here.
The old Matt.
Right here.
Kloskowski.
Do you see my screen there? So Matt Kloskowski did a book called Photoshop Compositing Secrets that was really, really good. Really good. Excellent. It was a bunch of projects. He gave you the photos. You built the... There's only one thing wrong with Matt's book. Matt's book came out before the new Photoshop stuff that makes it so much easier and better today. That was before a select subject and before select and mask and before all the things that we can do today. But this book, it's a few years old now. Let me see what year it came out. I'm going to say 2014. 2011.
Exactly.
Wow.
7 years ago.
Wow. Okay, so it's 7 years old. Still a great book, and it had one. Steve Nikolai, our director of video, did the video for this, the video promo. My gosh, the video promo is so good, but if I play it over the way we broadcast it here, it would skip and stuff, and it would be so good, though. One of the best promos we've ever done. It was just so cute and so clever. But that book sold tremendously well, and he had such great stuff in there. I would say up until this point, it's one of the best books on compositing ever. So we're going to roll on until we hear back from that other question. But I think you're right. I think we are seeing a renaissance of compositing that I think it's propelled by two things. Is you are seeing more and more people doing compositing, and you wouldn't know it's a composite. Like you're seeing people shoot on a gray background and putting beautiful like textures and stuff over it and things that are just
you don't know,
just tremendous. Hey, did you see this big controversy this week? I saw it on literally on CNN. Of a woman who posted her before and afters of shots of children, like real cute shots, a baby and her little older brother, like in a field playing with a bear, not a real bear, like a stuffed bear. And she showed her before and after, and there was such an outcry. All she did was she did a little bit of cloning. Like for example, she would add some, like if there was a little branch coming in from one side and a branch coming the other, she would clone some more branches so it was kind of framed. Oh, the outcry over what she did, it was like they just realized there was Photoshop.
Her name wasn't Steve McCurry, was it?
No, it was not Steve McCurry. That was mean. But anyway, her stuff was great. She was really good. I was like, man, she is great at Photoshop. Her stuff was tasty and it was well thought out. And she did, there was one that was just a field and she added a little house in the background and it was perfectly done. And her compositing, when she did it, not a bunch of it, was on the money. But what was important wasn't the color toning. It was the capturing the kids in such a beautiful moment. And everybody just completely forgot. I can imagine the parents of those children were thrilled beyond belief. This is make a big print, put it on your wall, and cherish it forever. The fact that she added a house in the background doesn't change what the parents saw in that photo. But there was such an outcry, and it was all like, oh my God, they used Photoshop. What? Of course they use, that's what we do. We use Photoshop. She used it very, very well, and congratulations. I wish I could give you her name because she was terrific. Jeff May has a book idea, and I love this idea. In fact, I've pitched a similar idea to this. Opening a photography business. Are you ready, willing, and able? A complete book with everything from releases on from releases like model releases, property releases, to how and where to sell your photos. I think a real beginning to end thing like that really covers everything. Because you know what I hate? Can I tell you what I hate?
What do you hate?
Let me tell you what I hate. I hate when I buy a book and there comes to something important, like where to buy and sell your book. You know what I want? Like, Jeff, you know what I would want? If you wrote that book, I would want you to say to me, sell your book here. This is the best place. Don't say, well, there are many places to sell your books. You can sell them at Shutterstock, or you can sell them here, or you can sell them there. Like, that's not what I want to pay for a book for. I know there are many places to sell my pictures. I want you to tell me, sell them here. Because that's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for a list of where I could sell it. I'm looking for someone who's had experience with it that says, I've tried numerous ones and this one's the one.
for me.
I hate when you go to a Photoshop book and they go, the unsharp mask, the amount does this, the threshold does this, the radius does this, and you'll just, it depends on your
photo. Go to the
photo.
right for more, go to the left for less.
And just depends on your photo. Thanks. I realized that all of this depends on my photo before I ever bought your book. Oh, that makes me the maddest. You know what else makes me mad? Well, we're talking about what makes me mad. Reviews where at the end they go, they're all good. Like if you said, we're going to compare the Pro Photo to the Ellen Chrome to the...
Which new mirrorless camera should I get?
Yeah, which new mirrorless... And at the end it says, well, you know, the Sony has its good parts, but then the Nikon does too.
At the
well,
end
the
of the
Canon,
day-
at the end of the day, they're all good. There is no bad choice. I just want to find that writer, and I want to take this B1... Anyway.
It's a cop-out. It's a total.
It's a cop-out. It's a cop-out. All right. Chiquinando says, I guess I'm the only one who wants color grading. Chiquinando, I'm going to show you a color grading trick when we're in Innsbruck. Will change your life. Your life, Chiquinando. When we're in Innsbruck, you and me, we're going to sit down in our Airbnb. I'm going to open up my laptop, and I'm going to show you, but I'm going to tell you right up front. Ready? I learned the technique from Glenn Dewis. It all goes downstream. You learn it from one, you pass it on to somebody else. You're going to lose your mind. All right. Jeff May says, book idea number 2. Stock photography. What images sell? I love the idea, but you know what? What images sell change so quickly. Like,
Exactly.
it's things that are topical and things that one is tough to do in a book, great to do in a class. Terry Waitt did a class on KelbyOne. I hate that everything points to a class, but I will say this. It takes a long time to develop a book. It's a big financial commitment. It takes a long time. How long would you say, Scott, it takes from the time an author says, like if someone sent you a thing today and says, hey, I have an idea for a book, what do you think? How long do you think average it would be before that book gets published? And I'm not being smart. I'm not trying to.
Just the book marketing cycle that sort of the behind the scenes thing is usually 6 to 9 months. Sometimes it can be faster technology wise, like with cameras and new things come out. We'll do things much quicker than that. But average is over a year.
It's over a year from
Right.
the conception of the book to it hits the bookstore shelves.
Right. And I think there was 2 interesting, questions that came up, because the other thing about the business of photography and becoming a photographer, you got to think about how many people can really make a living doing that. And then, so that's a book size market. As much as we don't want to think of books as products, they're just like anything else. Is how big is your target market and what percentage of that market needs to buy that book to make it a reasonable business enterprise.
Well, that kind of winds up where Cheeky Nando is. Cheeky's got a great topic. I love color grading. I paid a guy to teach me color grading I paid him a lot of money, a lot more than a book, to learn color grading over Skype. But it's a small market, the people that want to learn color grading. Color grading, it's hot, but you have to even know what color grading is. You have to be at a certain part of your career.
There was a book idea that we've had sitting we always have a list of things we write down. And there's a book that I've seen that was actually published in Germany called the Photography Lookbook. Because that's one of the things I think a lot of photographers, when they go on to whatever, 500px, are looking at, and you look at an image and maybe I understand the lighting, but there's a lot more done to that image to give it that overall feel.
Right.
And how do I break that down? So, a book that went through and took a bunch of different looks, and this is how you're going to get there, not only with the lights, but with the, with all the different Photoshop techniques as well. I
So
mean,
it talks about the lighting and the shooting and
Oh,
the
the
retouching.
It's actually more just the retouching side of it.
Oh, okay.
Not the lighting.
So it's just like
lighted shooting.
it's like professional retouching techniques for photographers, or that kind of thing.
Yeah, you should write that book.
I think I did. We're gonna take a short break. When we come back, I've got some other news stuff. When we get back, don't go away. We'll be right back. I think.
And because there's so much just keeps being added to Photoshop, I think it's good to kind of sit back and go, well, what's going to make my life easier? So one of the tips I cover is libraries. So you can start adding assets to libraries and color swatches and images, because you can share these with InDesign and Illustrator. So the whole thing for me with Photoshop is playing and practicing and just trying stuff out, because we all follow tutorials, and if the guy says it's this color or this is percentage. So jumping into these little areas in Photoshop and finding these new things might just change the way you work or give you a new effect you haven't found before. So I think the deeper you can go into Photoshop, the more fun you'll have with it. And so I put this class of tips together just so you can have these little shortcuts and just little help me things that generally catch you out in Photoshop, because you're going back and forwards through different commands. And what I want to do is just bring a bunch of them together that I've learned over the past few months to make my life easier, and just share them with KelbyOne members.
A couple of really big benefits of being critiqued. One, it tells you what you're doing well. Two, it tells you what you're not doing well and areas to focus on. I think three, it tells you potentially how the stories you're attempting to tell are being seen and shared by others, including stories you maybe even didn't know you were telling. And then the last thing I think it does is the more you get critiqued, the better you are at critiquing others, and then you can help other people really move their photography forward as well. And really that's what this class was about, was taking an established methodology that has been in existence for almost 70 years now that we know works. So to bring that kind of structure down here, I think is going to be helpful for people who are soliciting feedback to know how to ask for it. And for those people giving feedback, to give them the tools to feel like they can really respond to anybody who's looking for help. I'm Daniel Gregory. Come and check out my latest class on KelbyOne.com.
Well, hi everybody, Scott Kelby here, and I want to tell you about my latest book. It is a big update to one of my best-selling books ever. It's called How Do I Do That in Lightroom Classic? Now, when you're past the beginner stage of Lightroom, and sometimes you just need to know how to do a particular thing, but you need to know how to do it right now, well, that's what this book is all about. You turn to the page, it tells you how to do just that one thing, and you're done. Boom, that's it. Having the answers you need right at your fingertips anytime is amazingly helpful, and it's a huge time saver. So I hope you will go check out my brand new book. It's called How Do I Do That in a Lightroom Classic?
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the world's most compact tripod base.
Hi guys, Scott Kelby here with Scott and Ted from Rocky Nook. From, where are they from? Rocky Nook. Yeah. Anyway, they're the guys that publish my books and books of other great photographers. I don't mean like I'm one, but I mean like
Oh, come
people
on.
like.
Yeah.
I wasn't saying it like that, but I don't want it to sound bad. I didn't mean it like that. I have lots of interesting things to tell you. First off, I want to announce, I think I may have mentioned this before, but I want to re-announce that I'm selling some of my prints. So I have my prints are for sale at a place called Yellow Corner. They are a physical gallery, but they also have an online presence as well. It's Yellow, K-O-R-N-E-R with a K.
I saw one of those in Chicago.
Yeah, it's Yellow Corner. It's the same gallery, yes. Yellow Corner. So I have 4 or 5 of my prints for sale there. And you can get them in all kinds of different sizes, and you can buy limited edition ones that we sell those, and that's it. So that's it, Yellow Corner right there, Yellow, K-O-R-N-E-R, and they're in 87 different countries. They have galleries in 87 countries around the world, and I'm excited to be able to sell my prints there. So you can go check it out if you will. I would love for you to pick up a print. And they're in all different sizes and different qualities and different things like that. Yellow Corner with a K, K-O-R-N-E-R. Also, just want to mention that in next Friday, not this Friday, a week from Friday, I will be in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., serving our nation by teaching Lightroom. It is my last Lightroom tour in the U.S. of the year. So I'll be launching a brand new tour on Photoshop coming out next. But there it is. I'll be at the Washington, D.C. Convention Center. Come on out and spend a day of love with me and love. That is Friday. So think about it. It's Friday, 3-day weekend.
Sweet.
Sweet. 3-day weekend. Or, and you can do what many people do, sign up for the seminar and then never show up, but your boss thinks you went and they'll never know. Anyway, that's, it happens. Friday, August 17th, we're learning Lightroom all day long. It's going to be so much fun, and it's my last one in the U.S. for the year. So that's up. One last thing. You know who my guest is next week?
Who?
He's from France. Monsieur
Macron?
Serge Ramelli. No, Serge Ramelli. Yes, Monsieur Serge will be here next week. Very excited to have Serge. He's always a great guest and stuff like that. So looking forward to seeing Serge. He's here doing some classes as well. But now we're talking about how to help us write the next great photography book. We have some really good ideas. Mark Chitwood says, a book on an iPhone photography with Calibra. I think she would do wonderful on an iPhoneography book. She just won't write a book. Calibra's busy. Can I tell you something? Incredibly busy person, Calibra.
Does she know any ghostwriters? Is there anyone?
No,
You can
we don't
think of?
believe we don't believe in ghostwriters.
One of the keys to a successful book is having a willing author.
Yeah, you got to have a
know.
willing author.
Right.
Yeah, because I think one day she will write a book, but I don't think it'll be on iPhoneography. I think she'll write more of a book called "The Greatest Man I Ever Knew," Ted Waitt.
Didn't see that
about
coming.
you. I know, it's very surprising. So Wayne says something, and Scott made a comment about this on the break, and I think he's right. Wayne says, here's a topic that is for a small audience, but very much in demand: how to make intraoral photographs in dentistry. So Wayne, obviously a dentist, I don't think it's like a hobby. Like, what's your hobby? You know, I shoot flowers. What do you do? Sports? What do you do? I shoot intraoral photographs in dentistry.
Right.
No. So anyway, so Scott was saying, he made a really good point. It is a very small audience, but if there is an audience, you could make a book, but what would that book cost?
Yeah,
It'd
that's
be very expensive.
I don't know how big the market. I don't know how many dentists there are or how many people are looking for it.
A lot of dentists.
That's what's going to drive it. Just like any product is, you can do it. It can be successful for the author and for the publisher, but it would probably have to be $150, or I'm just guessing, not knowing the market size. But
And I bet Wayne would come back and tell you that there are
They would
dentists that
pay
would
it.
pay $150 in a heartbeat.
Right.
But what you've got to find out is, who is the dentist that is, number one, terrific at it, and number two, a great teacher?
Well, and then from a publishing standpoint too, is how do you reach dentists? We don't usually talk. We don't market to dentists. So how do you make
a
sure
lot
that
It's going to have to be a word of
lot of
mouth
teeth
thing.
cleanings.
You're going to have to.
Word of mouth.
I mean, you can rely a little bit on search engines and things like that, but you need to be able to talk to the
Scott,
audience.
Ted's off the show.
Is he?
He's making
Has
like
he lost it?
puns and stuff over there. He's off the
Well,
show.
I will say though that in a related topic, we
He's
have
mouthing off.
We have talked in the past, similarly, very small audience, et cetera, is like forensics photography, and we've talked about it.
Yep.
And you just we haven't gotten there. It hasn't made sense, but it's it's of course a valid topic. It's a valid niche, small audience.
Yeah,
but
it's
there's
one you
just
can
not a
really
book
sink your
there.
teeth into.
Indeed, you could really kill someone for that book. Then take forensics photographs
I'm
of
just
them.
gonna let him bear
Is this
himself.
show over yet? Is it over, Christina? No, we still have time.
No.
Crap. All right. So Jock has a good one. This is a good one. Jock has a good idea. How to sell your prints in either online, in galleries, or at art fairs. That's not a bad one. Come on, there's something there.
Yeah, actually, Rocky Nook had a book probably 10 years ago, but again, book like that's out of date, now.
Yeah, but can you imagine how things have changed? Like online
Right.
galleries are real now. I mean, it's not a rarity. It's every gallery's online, and you can sell prints. You
Anywhere,
can sell
yeah.
prints in so many ways, and you have so many great places. And you don't have to make your own prints like you used to in the old days. Like if you had to make your own prints, there are some places, some high-end places that will do your printing, like Nash Editions, or even go to not MPICs, but their parent company Millers, who will do really beautiful fine art printing. And there's what's it called in New York City? I mean, there are places that do gallery level printing. So you don't have to do it yourself. Hey, by the way, Jessica, who is our book designer and works on Photoshop User, and is just an amazing designer all the way around. Jessica says, we have a color grading tutorial coming up in Photoshop User magazine in August. Yeah, we do. Color
Good
grading,
timing.
thank you for reminding us, Jess. That is correct. Color grading. So Ted asked me on the break, isn't color grading, haven't we always had color grading? And to an extent that we have, the term color grading really comes from the cinematic process. You know, you see these movies, like what movies I was just watching, and it was blue through most of the movie, or it'll have an actual color grade attached to the link. It's really a cinematic thing. And now we're taking these cinematic color grades that you see to movies. Like, I think the first big one was 300. Remember the movie 300 about the 300 race car drivers? No, it was the Rome of the Spartans, or people with spears.
Gladiators.
Gladiators, thank you. Anyway, but they color toned. Not only did they put a color grade on that, but they added like contrast and a grittiness and stuff. You know, you can even go and find Lightroom presets that have the color grading from the movie 300. But it's a cinematic technique, and now we're applying it to our photographs and things like that. So there's that. Let's see what else. There was something else I wanted to mention. Oh, yes, I got to mention the two things. Photoshop User Magazine, since we just mentioned it just a moment ago. If you are a KelbyOne member, we sent out last week in our annual survey. So Chris and I get together every year, and we try to make the magazine better. And the only way we can do that is to hear from our readers. And we've had a ton of readers already respond, but we'd like to get even more. But we show you now photographs. Like, here's the column. Do you read it every issue? Do you read it sometimes? Do you skip over this one? Do you never read it? Do you read it if you're like stuck on a train? You know, like, when do you read it? And it's been very helpful, because right now we're planning what our next 12 months are going to be for the magazine. So if you are a KelbyOne member, KelbyOne Pro member, look in there's the current issues right there. And so if you are a current KelbyOne member, go and check your email and look for an email from us, from us, like that rhymes with Musk, Elon Musk. Look for an email from Elon Musk, and we have a survey in there, and it would be really, really great. Yeah, can we see some covers there? Look, just scroll there. Yep, we publish Photoshop User Magazine 10 times a year for KelbyOne Pro members. And we also publish Lightroom Magazine, also 10 times a year. We publish 20 magazines a year for our pro members.
It's a lot of magazines.
It is a lot of magazines. All right, so there was one more thing I had to do. Oh, two more things. Our gallery show. So you know how we run this contest where people can send us their images. We choose a winner from our KelbyOne members, and then we bring them to Florida. We fly them here. And our last one is international, so it was Ian Monroe from the UK. We have another international winner, this time from Canada. So we are flying from Canada, Rampton, or just Rammy. Rampton. He is flying in, and next Friday, the 18th, so the day after my seminar in, where am I going to be? Washington, D.C. We're having a gallery opening and a wine and cheese thing. If you're a KelbyOne member, you're welcome to come and join us, free, at the gallery at KelbyOne.
I got to see the gallery for the first time, Scott, because it wasn't finished last time we were
Oh,
here.
yeah. What do you think?
It's beautiful.
Isn't it beautiful?
It's really nice.
People don't realize when they get here. I mean, it's a beautiful, full-size, gorgeous gallery. And our friends at Bay Photo do the printing, and the printing is just ridiculously amazing, and everybody talks about it. Anyway, you can go to this page right here and register to come and just, it's free. It's just we open it to our KelbyOne members, and it's next Friday night. So Friday, August 18th, here, no, yes, Friday? It's not Friday. It has to be Saturday. Yes, Saturday, thank you. Saturday, August 18th, because Friday I'll be in D.C. Saturday night, wine, cheese, I'll be there. After the opening, we all go into the theater, and then we have a presentation, and we look at his work and talk about his work, and it's such great. One more comment before we go, because we only have like 30 seconds left. I am known, it's a book suggestion, How to Become from a Hobby Photographer to a Pro. I think there's something there.
I think that handle was I am no one.
Oh, is it
And
no
I would
one?
say that the
Noon.
first step in going from a hobby photographer to a pro is to not have a handle that's I am no one. You got to
I am
put your name
someone.
out there
You have to be
and
someone.
start
All right.
it up.
Now, we have giveaways today. We've got my brand new book, How to Do That in Lightroom Classic, and we've also got a couple of platypods. So where do you go to enter the contest? Go to KelbyOne.com/contest. And that's where you enter. It is important that you tell us what you want to win. Do I want to win the Lightroom book? Do I want to win the small platypod or the big platypod? So let us know right there in the comments. We would love it if you did. And then we will pick a winner. And we don't care where you are in the world. We'll send it to you because we love you. All right. Thank you to Scott and Ted. Thank you guys very much for being on the show today.
Thanks for having us.
And thank you for
Fun.
we had great questions today. So
Good.
thank you for all your
conversation.
very thoughtful stuff. We have a lot to think about. And we thank you to our crew here. Juan is not on the jib today, but Leighton is standing in and doing a fantastic job. Leighton, your jib movement is smooth. Christina, Ron, Jason, whoever else is here. Thank you guys. We'll catch you next time. Next week with Serge. Au revoir, monsieur. Madame. Au revoir, monsieur, madame.
Merci
Look how
beaucoup.
high he gets that jib. It's ridiculous. Look at that.
It keeps going.
It's
That
like
is
from
a
space.
high
It's like
jib.
from
It's
the
not gonna stop.
International Space Station
jib won't
looking
stop.
down. How can anyone get it that high? Wait till you see sparks.
Oh, my